Today we will be making a crocheted off the shoulder bell sleeved shorts bodysuit. This is my first YouTube video, so please bear with me as I'm still getting the hang of it. If you have any critiques or ways in which I could improve, I'm all ears and would love to hear in the comments. This is the first part of two parts. The image you see on the screen are the first concept sketches I made, which later evolved into these. This is the final sketch of how the bodysuit will look. I have linked a couple of videos in the description box of tutorials that might help in each section of this tutorial that go into a little bit better detail over the things I grazed over. This will also help those a little bit newer at crocheting. So here I'm just showing you guys my body measurements so you know what I am basing my project off of. So then in turn you can edit it to your own body type and measurements. Okay, so I'm just going to be letting you know the measurements you're going to need for this project. So first you're going to need to know how long you want your shorts to be. I made mine 5 inches. So from about the bottom of the crotch to about here, I made mine 5 inches, which is on the shorter side. So if you want to make yours longer, then at that point in the tutorial, please make yours longer. You're gonna need the measurement from the top of your shorts. So when you're done making your shorts, you're gonna need to measure this part out. So from the top of your shorts to wherever you want your V-neck to end. So let's say you want your V-neck to end here and your shorts stop here. You want that measurement right there. So for me, mine is 21 inches. So when we're making that, you would need to match it up with how much rows you're gonna have to make. You're gonna need from the top of your armpit, the bottom of your armpit to the top of your shoulder to know how wide and how long you need to make your sleeve. When we're at that part, I will explain further. You're gonna need your sleeve length. So however long you want your sleeve to be is the length you're gonna need to measure out for. So for me, I wanted my sleeve to end about right here. Like I wanted a little bit of my fingers to show through. I didn't want it to cover all of my hand. So I stopped mine about right there. So you're gonna need that measurement. And you're gonna also need from the top of your shoulder to the bottom of your elbow, because this whole part we're going to crochet, and then around here we're gonna start to flare it out to make those bell sleeves. And those are all the measurements you need. Be using the Yarnspiration Burn It Premium for this project in the color Baby Lilac. I will be using a 5mm hook for this project. Here I'm just demonstrating how to do a slip knot for those who don't know. So in this clip, I'm just showing you all how to make a double crochet. So first we're going to start off by yarning over, which is just wrapping your yarn around your hook. So now you should have 2 loops on your hook, and we're going to place our hook into our first stitch. We should have 3 loops on our hook at this point. Then we're going to yarn over again, which is just wrapping your hook around the yarn, and we're just going to pull through that first stitch. So now we should have 3 loops on our hook, and then we're going to yarn over again and pull through those first 2 loops on our hook. So now we only have 2 remaining loops on our hook. Then we are going to yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops on our hook. And you just made a double crochet. So I'm just going to show you that again. And then when you're doing this on the beginning of a new row, you're just going to chain 3. So make 3 stitches, and then it's just the same thing. I'm just giving you all a heads up that I did not take any measurements when doing this project. I just kept trying it on and putting it against my body. So I recommend you all doing that when you're making yours. But I did go back and take some measurements and measure everything out. So I will be telling you guys my measurements and how many stitches I used when those parts come. So I actually lost the first part of this clip. So this is where the first video I linked in the description comes in handy, because the first 5 minutes of that video is basically the same as what I am doing in mine. So I recommend you go and watch that, but I will be talking you through what I did. But if you are a visual learner, then I recommend you going and watching that video. So we're going to start off by making a chain that fits around our waist. So this is where your waist measurement will come in handy. So here I'm just going to show you how to start it off and how to make your chain. First, you're going to do a slip knot. You're going to do your slip knot. And you're gonna tighten it on your hook. Then you're gonna do the placement on your hand, whichever way you like to hold your yarn. This is how I like to do mine. And then you're just gonna start the chain. You're gonna loop your hook around, yarn over, pull through. Loop your hook around, yarn over, pull through. Make sure you're holding it properly. Make sure you're not doing it too tight also, or else like when you're going to have to put in your double crochets in it later, it's going to be hard because it's too tight. So you're going to just continue doing this until it is the length you want it to be, the length of your waist measurement, or until it fits around your waist when you try it on. So this is how you make your chain. Very simple. You want it to be a little snug so it doesn't fall down, but you don't want it to be too tight to where you can't put it on, because I was actually having that problem with me being a curvier girl. I couldn't get it over my bum/hip area at first, so I did have to add in a couple extra stitches. Once you've finished and it fits accordingly, slip stitch into the first chain. We are working on the next row, so we're going to chain 2, then double crochet into every stitch. Once you are finished that row, you are going to slip stitch into the first stitch on that row and repeat this until it starts becoming a little tight around your hips. So this is where the trying on part that I said earlier comes into play. I made 3 rows and I'm going to start increasing on the 4th row. Now starting off on that 4th row, we are going to work 2 stitches into that first stitch. After that, you want to work 1 stitch into every stitch until you reach the halfway mark of your shorts. That is the 46th stitch for me. So here I'm at the 46th stitch, which is the halfway point for me. So I'm just putting 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. So now we are finished the first half of our shorts, and we are going to be repeating the same thing on the second half. So on the next stitch, we are actually going to be adding 2 stitches also into that 1 stitch. And after we're done that, we are just going to be adding 1 double crochet stitch into every stitch until we get to the end, the last stitch, and we are going to be adding 2 double crochets into that last stitch. So just crochet regularly until you get to the last stitch. So now we are at the last stitch on this row. So we are going to work 2 double crochets into that last stitch, then slip stitch into that first double crochet on that row. So you are going to start to notice that your shorts are forming somewhat of a V shape, and don't panic, don't worry, that is exactly what we want. So you are going to want to go on to repeat those steps we just did for the previous row until you have about 2 to 3 inches until those 2 middle pieces meet underneath you. So this is where that trying on that I said earlier comes into play. You're going to try it on, and when you notice that you have 2 to 3 inches until those 2 middle flaps meet under you is where we're going to stop and continue. So I am at the point in my project where I have 2 to 3 inches until those middle flaps meet under me. So now we are going to start working on connecting those 2 pieces. So I'm just showing you how my project looks at this point. And yeah. So to connect the 2 sides, we're gonna make a chain of 3 single crochets on top of that original crochet. So it's going to be 4 stitches in total. Now we are going to find the same stitch on the opposite side, and we're going to slip stitch into that stitch. Then we're going to turn our work. Now we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, which is the other middle stitch on that side. So here I'm just showing you what I meant by the other middle, like when we were crocheting the body portion of the shorts, how we did it in 2 halves. So there would be one end of the first half and the other start of the next half, which is 2 middles. Now turn your work slightly so we could work on the middle part. We're going to work a single crochet into this chain's first stitch, As you could see, I'm struggling with it. Then we're gonna do the same thing for the next 3 stitches. When you've made it across, slip stitch into the next available stitch. Now we are going to be working the legs. So we're gonna start off by turning our work again. We are going to be working across the stitches we just worked on. So I finished the first leg and I'm gonna show you how to do it on the other leg. I'm just showing you how the end result of one leg looks. So we are going to work 1 double crochet all the way around. So now we're on our last stitch on this row. So after we're done this, we're just gonna slip stitch into the first stitch on this row. Now we're going to chain 3. So then you're going to want to double crochet into every stitch like we were doing before regularly until you get to the last 5 stitches. So once again, I did actually lose the footage to this. So I'm just gonna have to explain what I did. So right now we are on this stitch. We just finished it and we did a chain of 3s. This is the chain of 3 stitch. So you are right here at the moment. So now you're just gonna double crochet all the way around regularly until you get to right here, which is the 5th stitch from starting a new row. So once you have 5 stitches left, that's where we're gonna start to decrease. So this is your last stitch. You're gonna skip the next stitch. So this is the next stitch. As you can see, there's like a little hole. This is the stitch we didn't stitch in. And then we're gonna stitch in the one after that. So this one. And we're gonna do that again. We're gonna skip this stitch and then stitch into this, the next one, which is this one. And then we're gonna skip this stitch and then we're gonna slip stitch into our first double crochet. So that's how we make it tighter so that it can have a tight fit. If you don't do this, it's gonna be like not a tight fit. So then we're gonna chain 3 again and start on our next row. So we're gonna do basically the same thing. We're gonna crochet regularly all around until we get to here, which is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th stitch. And we're gonna do this exact same thing. We're gonna skip this stitch. As you can see, we skipped it. We're gonna stitch into this stitch, skip this stitch, stitch into this stitch, and then slip stitch into our first stitch. And then we're gonna do it again. We're gonna double crochet, chain 3, double crochet all around regularly, and then, oh, what happened here? Okay. This is a little odd. We're gonna stop, but not at the 5th stitch. We're gonna stop at the 1, 2, 3, 3rd stitch. We're gonna stop at the 3rd stitch. We're gonna stitch, skip, stitch, skip, slip stitch into our first double crochet. And that's it. If you want to make your pant a little longer, because my shorts were a little short, I'm not gonna lie. So if you want to make it longer, you just want to continue doing this pattern. This pattern is basically like a V, but if you want to make yours longer, you would have to like not make the V so sharp. So like that, if you basically get what I'm saying. So yeah, and then you want to do the same thing when you're doing the opposite leg, but instead of it being your you like crocheting first all around, you're gonna do this part actually first. So this is our chain stitches. So we did it first. So we skipped it, crocheted, skipped, crocheted, skipped, crocheted, and then crocheted all around until we got here, and then we double crochet, and then we chained, and then we did that again, skipped. So we did, so for the let me see which side this is. So for the right leg, we did we did the normal crocheting first, and then for the left leg we did the skipping stitches first. I know that this part's a little confusing, I'm sorry. I didn't get the footage for me doing it, but if you guys like don't understand what I just did, I can make another video of me doing this part over for you guys. My apologies. So here I'm just trying on the shorts for you all. I'm just showing you all how it looks on me at this moment. This is also the time where you need to take that measurement I was talking about earlier in the video, the top of the shorts to where you want the V to end. And so here I'm just showing you what the finished result of the shorts part of this bodysuit looks like. So we're gonna start on the bodysuit section. So you're gonna want to go to the back of your shorts, then find the middle. We are going to be making a deep back cutout, so we're gonna want to go to that middle stitch and then skip that very middle stitch and go to the stitch after that. And then you're gonna want to put a double crochet into that stitch. After you're done that double crochet, you're gonna want to stitch all the way around until you get to the last 3 stitches on the other side, not including that very middle stitch that we skipped in the beginning. So it should be 4 stitches. I will go into further detail and actually demonstrate what that looks like in the clip after this sped up montage. I already did some of the the bodysuit part, but it's basically like the same all around. So you would want to start in the middle of the back. This is where we're going to be attaching those strings to make all those bows in the back. We're doing a deep V in the back. So you would want to just start. This would be the middle, middle of the back. So you want to start in the next stitch and you want to do a regular stitch in it, and then you're going to stitch all around until you get to the 3rd last stitch. That's when you'd want to start decreasing. So we do 1 decreasing and then we flip it, and then we do a decreasing on the next row, and then stitch all around, and then do that same thing on the other side. Decreasing, flip it, decreasing again, stitch all around. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So there is 1, 2, 3 stitches left. So I'm going to do another stitch. This is just a regular double crochet. So then in the next stitch, this is where you would want to start. So you just put your needle in, bring 1 out, bring it through. Then you would want to yarn over and put it through the 2. Then you have 2 stitches. You're gonna yarn over, put it through the last stitch, yarn over, bring it through the first 2 stitches, then you have 3 stitches, and then you're gonna yarn over again and pull it through the last 3, then pull, and that's 1 decreasing on the last stitch. Then you want to flip it over. So now you're gonna work like this. So then you wanna do 2 stitches, yarn over, put your
needle through, then
pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2. You have 2 stitches. You have 2 stitches on your needle. Yarn over, put it through the next stitch, yarn over. You have 4 stitches on your needle. Yarn over, pull through the first 2. You have 3 stitches on your needle. Yarn over, pull it through the last 3. Pull. And that's what gives you that V-neck type of look. Then you want to double crochet normally all around. Until you get back to the other side, and I'll show you what to do when you get to the other side. So you just want to continue. So this is where we're at now. This is how much I did. So this is gonna be where the like corset-y type pattern, I forgot what it's called, is. So I'm just gonna show you again in case you still didn't understand how you do the decreasing part. So you just do normal double crochets. So you get to the second last stitch. So we're at the second last stitch. You're gonna make sure it actually is, because if you need to pull that stitch, you can, and we are. So you just put in your needle, you bring it through, pull it. There's 3 stitches on your needle. You yarn over, pull it through the first 2, and pull. So then you have 2 stitches on your needle, and then you yarn over, you put your needle through the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 4 stitches on your needle, yarn over, pull through the first 2, pull, and you have 3 stitches on your needle, yarn over and pull through the last 3. Then you want to turn your work, and then you want to, I just flip this to the other side like that. Actually, I'm just gonna leave it on this side. But then you just do 2 stitches yarn over, put it through the first stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull it through the first two. You have 2 stitches on your needle now. Yarn over, put it through the second stitch, pull through. You have 4 stitches on your needle. Yarn over, pull it through the first 2, pull. You have 3. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And that's how you decrease. And then you just do normal half double crochets all the way until you get to the side, and you are going to do the same thing you did on this side. Okay, so now we're on the other side, as you can see. So I'm just gonna continue. And so you're gonna repeat this pattern until you get it to that length you took when you measured the top of your shorts to the middle of your chest, or wherever you wanted the V neck to end. You're gonna crochet it until you get to that point. And then once you get it to that point, we're gonna try it on. And then you're gonna see whether you like it or not. If you don't, you could add another row or 2, or you could take out a row or 2. Just depends on wherever you want it. You want to try it on and to see how deep you want your V neck. So this is how deep I want it. So you have to measure it out, and this is how the back looks. See. So I'm gonna start on this next row, start decreasing to make the V neck. Yeah. Don't forget to stay tuned for part 2. If Chi-Chi don't stitch it,
do you really wanna watch it?
It's Chi-Chi Stitchz on the motherfucking beat. I know you peeped my alerts, so you better come and see. I'm calling from the far, I'm calling from the wide. Grab your yarn, grab your hook, you know it's about that time. Peace is so divine, can't find anywhere else. Who you know who do it better? Chi-Chi is gonna show you. All hail the crochet queen, a scholar in the art of stitching without no degree. Doctor. She's self-taught, she's self-made, a real design queen. Double C is gonna show you. 2 Cheese is gonna show you. Gonna show you, gonna show you, gonna show you how to stitch it, stitch it, stitch it, stitch it, stitch it, stitch it, stitch it. Be the Lilo to my motherfucking stitch. I'll show you how to stitch it with a flick of the wrist. Yo, I'm actually so stupid for this. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. Share. You know what to do. I'll be back with more. Chi-Chi out.